He had everything, money, fame, and power, but the one thing he couldn't buy was his daughter's smile. After a tragic accident, she was left paralyzed, her laughter replaced with silence. Every treatment had failed, every doctor had given up. One stormy evening, as he stood outside a hospital lost in grief, a little beggar, barefoot, drenched, no older than 9, approached him. "Sir," the child said, "I can make your daughter walk again." The words hit like lightning. The millionaire turned, speechless. Was this a cruel joke or destiny itself? Watch until the end. Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Richard Bennett was a man the city admired, a self-made millionaire whose name stood for success. But behind his wealth lay heartbreak. His only daughter, Emma, had been paralyzed in a car crash one rainy night. The doctors called it permanent damage. Hope vanished from their mansion, replaced by quiet sobs and sleepless nights. Richard tried everything: surgeries, foreign specialists, alternative therapies, but nothing changed. Each day he watched his little girl lose the light in her eyes and his own faith with it. One evening, after another hopeless consultation, he sat by the hospital gate as rain poured heavily. That's when he saw him, a little black boy barefoot holding an empty paper cup. His clothes were torn, his hair soaked, but his eyes, they carried peace. When the child smiled and said he could heal Emma, Richard froze, torn between disbelief and despair. The boy's name was Malik. Just 9 years old, he had no home, no parents, only a heart full of faith. He slept near the hospital entrance, surviving on leftovers and the kindness of strangers. Yet he carried himself with an innocence that felt almost divine. When Richard gave him some money, Malik didn't thank him. Instead, he said softly, "You can't buy what your heart has lost, sir." The words pierced Richard's chest. How could a child see what even adults couldn't? Malik told him about his grandmother, a gentle woman who healed people with prayer and touch. "She said God hides miracles inside the purest hearts," he whispered. Richard wanted to walk away. It sounded foolish. But something about the child's calmness, his steady gaze, held him still. The next day, Malik appeared again. Seeing Richard's hesitation, he said quietly, "Let me just see her once." Desperate, Richard led him inside. Emma sat in her wheelchair, staring blankly at the window. Malik walked close, placed his tiny hands on her knees, and closed his eyes. For a few seconds, silence filled the room. Then Emma gasped, "Daddy, my legs feel warm." The doctors dismissed it as nerves, but Richard's heart stirred for the first time in months. 2 weeks later, as Emma tried to move during therapy, her toes twitched. Then, slowly, her foot lifted, just an inch, but enough to make the entire room fall silent. Nurses froze. Tears poured down Richard's face as he fell to his knees. The impossible had happened. When he looked up, Malik stood quietly in the doorway, his clothes still wet from the rain outside. He smiled, a soft, knowing smile, and whispered, "I told you, sir, she will walk." By the time Richard ran to embrace him, the boy was gone. No footprints, no trace, only a folded paper cup left behind on the bench outside, with a note inside. Faith heals what money cannot. Richard never saw Malik again. He searched every alley, every shelter, every street corner, but the boy had vanished like a dream. Yet his presence lingered in every step Emma took. Within months, she was walking again, smiling brighter than ever before. Richard used his fortune to open a children's hospital named Malik's Hope, dedicated to healing those who couldn't afford care. Each time he watched a child recover, he remembered that night, the 9-year-old beggar who gave him more than medicine ever could. Maybe Malik wasn't just a boy. Perhaps he was an angel sent in the humblest form, because sometimes the smallest hands carry the biggest miracles. Which country and city are you watching from? Take care.